Bonjour. Je m'appelle Carlos.
This is Dave.
Two Fat Guys Talk, episode 67. We don't have a title for this, and we don't have a topic for this. This is the No Topic Cast. Sound off, topic here's.
I am a topic here, and I'm here to say, no topic is my game. Yeah.
Yeah, that's good. It rhymed, too. You just heard Kiki? And who else is here?
Yeah, I'm also here too. This is Bo. As my good pal Shiva always goes, it goes, oh!
That's from,
Shin Megami Tensei Nocturne. Whenever he does his, whenever he casts a spell, he always does that sound clip. He always goes, oh! It's sort of like Wingardium Leviosa.
Well,
Although,
that's what I would do if I had to cast a spell.
Though, my second favorite sound clip from that game would have to be when Vishnu casts a spell, he always goes, I shit you not.
It's also a good clip. Alright, so we should probably explain what we're doing in this episode. We have no topics, which means we have every topic. This is a no topic cast. This is how it works. We're just going to talk about whatever we want. People will bring up topics. We'll talk to each other. We'll talk over each other. We'll talk under each other. However, we also have voicemails to answer. So at any point...
Sorry, we gotta do a voicemail
So at
now.
any point... Dave apparently doesn't understand language, because I explained this to him already. So at any point, except during this intro, and when we are listening to or answering a voicemail, any one of us can yell, voicemail, and we must immediately stop and address the next voicemail and answer it. At that point, the no-topic conversation will continue. Now we are at the end of the intro.
No, he's not going to say it.
No, I know. So, I was checking my only remaining testicle for cancer earlier.
Voicemail.
So you just gotta know what to do. You gotta know how to bait.
Hello, Carlos. Hello, Dave. It's Meowth 900 again. I finished reading that manga Carlos babbled about, the qualia of the purple manga. My thoughts on it was okay. Felt like it was gonna be a dumb Yuri story at the beginning, but then robots, I thought that was cool, then fighting, and I thought that was cool. Then for some reason it started to do like a weird time paradox thing, multiple universe theory or something. I thought that was a little bit over the top, but I still liked it nonetheless. I kinda liked it before when it was just like her going back in time and trying to save her girlfriend. And then it felt like it was dragging on a little bit. Like, then it showed another universe where she sleeps with a lolly girl and becomes her wife. And another universe where she somehow becomes ruler of an empire. I don't know, it was weird. Eventually it ended. I liked the story. And for some reason it tried to pull a universe theory or whatever. I don't know, I liked it. It was good. It was only 18 chapters, so it was short. So now I can go back to my good long-running mangas. Carlos, what did you think of it if you finished it?
I really like Qualia the Purple. I did finish it, and I also read the 2 little extra fun chapters, including one where a tree gets obliterated by eye lasers to impress a girl. Long story.
What?
It was a good comic. I recommend it for anyone. I thought it was smart. I thought it actually is one of the few pieces of fiction that knows what it was talking about when it was talking about Schrodinger's box, which a lot of fiction doesn't quite understand what to do with. It's a good story, but I don't want to spoil it for anyone here who hasn't read it in its entirety.
Hey, speaking of reading, did you read A Kiss of Deception yet?
I've started on A Kiss of Deception. I think it's very good so far, but I'm only 1.5 chapters in, so...
Carlos, the chapters are 4 pages.
I will read it! I have been doing my books.
4 pages.
Yeah, and you know how many turns he's played in Civilization?
Probably 3 or 4.
So, you're gonna have to explain to me again. So, Civilization is just this one game where you take a turn to do something like chess, but you can take as long as you want?
Yeah, it's basically an empire building game So during your turn, you can decide how much resources to allocate here, which lands to explore and invade, how to allocate your soldiers and wealth or whatever, and then you click the button to proceed on your turn, the things happen, and then you do your next turn. So it's a turn-based strategy game.
So how long have you guys been playing this game together?
No, I've been playing...
No, I would never do that.
I've been experiencing Civilization 5 by myself. I have so far played 4 turns over the course of as many years.
Which would take me about 3 minutes. It's taken him years.
I'll occasionally boot it up.
Like, will it honestly... Like, when you say years, are you, like, over-exaggerating?
No!
Like,
no, like, he's had it
years.
almost as long as I have. I've played entire sessions of hours long in length that have been hundreds upon thousands of turns, and he's done 3.
4. But however, since I migrated everything over from Steam to here, I'm pretty sure I've lost my save. So I'm going to have to start back on turn 1. So it's going to take a few years before I get back to where I was so I can talk about the game some more.
Oh, dear.
Yes.
Speaking of turns, I completely have finished playing Shining Force 2. Not that I finished it, but I was just like... you know how I said I was going to continue after that little rat hole? I finally got off of the rat hole, and I was just like, I can't do this.
Yeah, you were describing it last time. You reached the difficulty spike, and you didn't care about it. And I've occasionally reached that in games where I'll just hit a wall, and I'm just like, fuck this.
I normally finish every game I start, and I just... Oh, except for that goddamn... Oh, what's it called? You know the Castlevania with the chick?
Order of Ecclesia.
Yeah. Fuck that game. Okay.
That game didn't have difficulty spikes. It was just difficult.
Yeah. That game was so hard.
I'm hearing a lot of crying here from people who forgot what a hard Castlevania game was supposed to be like.
I never played Castlevania.
Symphony of the Night, horrendously easy.
I never played that one.
You played Portrait of Ruin, right?
Yeah, did you... Speaking of which, did you know you can skip the heal spell?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's how you get the bad end, when you don't get the heal spell.
Yeah, you need the heal spell to get the true end.
Yeah, guess who didn't know that? This girl. Guess who fucked up? This girl. And I'm like, really? Really? I can't get the good ending now, because I didn't know where the hell the good ending was. Healing was. But...
Portrait of Ruin is just a kind of a meh game in general, and also very easy, except for the final boss, who is actually really hard. And Order of Ecclesia, they're just like, you know what, people have been spoiled long enough. Let's make the second boss in that game harder than every single boss put together in Symphony of the Night. Yeah, so, in that game, the bosses did not screw around, although most of the levels got a bit easier as you gained levels in that game, like most of the stages. Eventually, you reach Dracula's castle and you get some really awesome weapons, and the game's challenge just goes out the window. But at least for a little while, Order of Ecclesia really sought to actually make the game tough for you.
I stopped when I had to go... You know how normally it's scrolling to the right and you always have to go right? Mm-hmm. I went to the forest where you have to go left.
Yeah, that forest...
That's where I stopped.
It's not terribly complicated, but the issue with that is that I believe that level just throws enemies at you. And they're not easy to deal with enemies. It's like gravediggers and other kind of really high-level enemies.
You're a gravedigger.
I dig all the graves. But I mean, yeah, that game was pretty tough. That game was pretty tough, though. That crab boss in the tower is still hard, man. That is a hard boss.
Oh,
and that's only like the second boss, isn't it?
Yeah, it's the second boss.
Yeah, that was a pain in the end.
It's like the hardest boss in the game, man. That guy.
Yeah, no.
Wasn't that the crab guy where I was just like, oh man, I've been fighting him for a good, 40 minutes. And I'm like, when does he die? And then you're like, oh yeah, you have to break its chain. I'm like, oh.
No, it's, you have to climb the tower, and then he eventually breaks through the tower, and you keep climbing, and then you hit the elevator switch, and then the elevator kills it.
Yeah, that's what I said, elevator switch.
You weren't fighting him for 40 minutes. You couldn't survive him for 40 minutes.
I said elevator switch.
Oh, yes. Excellent. Good job.
I'm lying. Voicemail! Did I have to scream it?
You can.
So this is a response to Rowan's last voicemail about why people like Game of Thrones. Why I like it is because there's a gratuitous amount of both violence and nudity and sex scenes. Now I know that sounds weird, but I don't know. I kinda like how all the nudity and sex parts are played out normally. Because, like, this stuff is normal, even though some of the stuff that happens to the women in Game of Thrones are abnormal. But it's just like, you see two people doing it in the background while someone's talking. Just like, oh, well, sex does exist. Nudity does exist. Normally TV shows like to pretend that those two things don't exist. We're okay with violence, we just can't handle the naked lady or sexual moments. But anyways, that's why I like Game of Thrones. And there's also dragons, and there's also hot dudes and hot girls, or hot actors, I should say, that really bring out the characters. Jon Snow's the best. Anyways, what's your favorite TV show? It can be like cartoons, it can be live action, even though in my opinion live action sucks, because they can't bring out as much as they can in animation, but that's my opinion. Also, I hate how live action has to pander romance, but that's a different story. What's your favorite TV show?
So, here's the thing about Game of Thrones. She has a good point. She has a really good point. Violence, A-okay. Sex, we have to protect the children. Nobody has sex. What do children have to do with sex? Let's shield them from all of it. And then let's act all surprised when they're freaking sexual deviants and weirdos and shit.
This reminds me of this one webcomic that was like, it had the ice climbers. And Nana's like, hey, Popo, do you want to play Game of Thrones? And then Popo's like, sure, how do you play? And then Nana has an evil smirk on her lips. And that's how it ends.
It's a good ending. It's open-ended. It's very interpretive. Favorite TV show? Wow.
In terms of non-animated stuff, I haven't seen any TV shows in, like, ever.
So you've seen TV shows, then?
Well, I haven't seen, like, non-animated stuff.
Liar, you've watched Friends with me.
No, in a long while.
Okay.
So to answer the question, at the moment, Gravity Falls has really captivated me, and I think it's my favorite television show right now. I'm trying to think of an all-time favorite, though, and I have difficulty thinking of one, because there has been a lot I've liked over the years, and because of the ongoing nature of a lot of TV programs, there are a lot of shows that definitely started as my favorite, and then kind of fell through, and vice versa. Like, Star Trek Deep Space Nine is awesome from seasons 3 to 6 inclusive, and pretty garbage in seasons 1, 2, and 7.
Pretty garbage.
Star Trek Voyager season 4 on was pretty good. Before that, kinda garbage. Exactly the same with Star Trek Next Generation, just to keep the theme on Star Trek. That Star Wars CG show, The Clone Wars, has great episodes and kind of dumb episodes, so this is a tough call. I can't think of one TV show where I've been consistently in love with the whole show except for the likes of Gravity Falls. Even Justice League and Justice League Unlimited were not consistently awesome. They were overall awesome, but they had their fair share of really dumb episodes too.
But what about Avatar The Last Airbender?
Oh, I totally forgot about Avatar The Last Airbender. Yeah, even that has its lulls. Like, season 1 was just okay. It was enough to keep me going. And season 1 had its fair share of dumb. Season 2 was that's the glory days of Avatar. That is, Book 2 Earth is where that show was at its freaking finest, and most dramatic, and funniest, and most depressing. And season 3, the latter half was definitely there too, although the first half, not so much. First half of season 3 kind of blows. It's not a big fan.
For me, I'd agree with Avatar. Yeah, I pretty much agree with you with Avatar on that. Gravity Falls is probably my favorite animated show right now, though my favorite animated show of all time sits with Mushishi.
Oh, Mushishi.
As far as live action goes, though, I don't really have an absolute favorite. I mean, I've been rewatching Eureka, watching Warehouse 13, and a bunch of others, but they're not my favorite. They're just good.
I do want to point out that she didn't say animated or not. She said TV show. So
I know.
we don't have to segregate down these lines.
I am.
Which are bullshit to segregate down anyway.
I liked ReBoot.
ReBoot's a good one, man.
I know, I always name good ones.
How vain of you.
I also liked... What's another TV show that was good? I don't know, I have favorites, but... I should say I don't have favorites. I know Karkar's favorite was stuff like the Magic School Bus, because Carlos was in there.
Yeah, there was a character named Carlos in there, and he was a delinquent. He would say something funny, and everyone would be like, Carlos!
Carlos, you also liked Gem.
I'm a fan of Gem, in that 80s bad animated show kind of way. It's like my first taste of magical girls, even though, by comparison, wow, was that show dumb.
The bad guys got away with everything.
Still better than Sailor Moon Crystal.
Way better than Sailor Moon Crystal.
Speaking of which, I need to say... Wait, do you want to say... You already mentioned TV show, didn't you?
Well, no. I said I couldn't remember what TV show. No, with me, my problem is kind of like Carlos. I kind of have a lot of favorites. It's hard to narrow it down. But I guess for some, I could say some of my favorites are like, of the past, like Darkwing Duck.
Darkwing Duck? Good
Samurai Pizza Cats, which I got for my birthday. Thank you, guys.
Yay!
You took too long. Anyway, so
Yeah,
I want
I
to
know,
talk
sorry.
about something. Did you watch the latest Sailor Moon Crystal? I refused.
Yes, we did.
I refused to
too.
watch it because I haven't watched it since the Four Kings got killed. But Poe showed me the clip.
Yeah,
He
the
showed
little
me
bits
the clip
where
where
they finally bring back the stock anime features where it's like, anime expressions. Like,
Yeah.
what? And, oh! And,
like and the sex scene. And I'm like, okay, so you just decided, oh right, we used to be funny and stuff, so you're gonna throw that in like the middle of whatever episode and then have sex in there right then? Like, what is happening? And then Carlos told me there's a second fucking tuxedo mask.
Yeah, that show had one too many tuxedo masks already.
Okay.
And now we need two.
It's his future self.
But why do you need two?
Did I stutter? There are two in there now. There are two of him now. And they're both rapists. Like, we just need to clarify
Well,
this.
Carl-
My
No.
friend who's currently going to the Calgary Comic-Con.
Your friend, a friend of yours.
A friend of
let's
mine,
say.
yeah. She's actually getting to meet the voice actor who voiced Tuxedo Mask.
In the 90s?
93 version.
Oh.
Well, here's the thing. That's fine. As we've established, the 93 Tuxedo Mask is just a dork. A totally unlovable dork, but a dork nonetheless. This new one is a sexual offender and
Who's
overall creep job.
Who is also the main character. Apparently.
Yeah, and this is his show. The show's called Sailor Moon Crystal, but it's really the adventures of, as Dave calls it, is it you or Poe who calls it
Tuxedo Mask and Friends.
Yes. This is Tuxedo Mask and Friends.
God. Like, really, though?
And here's the thing, if they were gonna do Tuxedo Mask and Friends, why didn't they just do Tuxedo Mask and Friends? Tuxedo Mask and Friends is, like, the worst. And in the latest episode, they realized, like... Yeah, it's like they realized that the 93 show was way better, and that this is garbage, and 20-some episodes in, they're like, oh crap, this sucked. Let's try to salvage it.
So they try to put the humor back in, but now it's all awkward, because it's like, why are you doing it now?
Why are you joking now? Look, this is... What did I say during the rave of that one, Dave? Didn't I say it's like when a character in an RPG dies, and then immediately after there's like a fun mini-game?
Yeah.
Like,
it's after their death, and then it's the beach episode.
Yeah, after that, then the beach episode, and everyone's happy, and boobs are bouncing, and but someone's dead.
Oh, and Tuxedo Mask is no longer a useless species like he was in the 93. They gave him back his manga powers.
Yeah, so he got to get the latest kills this time instead of Sailor Moon.
No, he tag teamed with Sailor Venus to body.
Sailor Venus does not get credit for these kills. She bound them with her useless chain, and he beamed them to death.
I like to point out that that villain used her two Bishi twin henchmen as a shield while she ran off after they were dying.
No, that's fine. She's playing to win. I'm okay with that. You know, it's not playing to win watching that show.
Yeah.
And there's no winners in Sailor Moon Crystal.
Are you guys actually still gonna keep watching?
I told Dave, if the next episode is just as garbage, I'm out.
And if he's out, he's watching Steins Gate episode 5.
You're gonna do that to me anyway, so that's not a threat, man.
I cannot believe you made him watch Steins Gate episode 4. Carlos just told me, like, literally one moment before you came in. And I was like, you're joking. I don't even know how you guys can stomach episode 4.
It's somehow worse.
How do you get worse?
Oh, man.
Why are you doing this?
So, Ocarine and...
Who's who?
The main character and that girl he was molesting are literally bickering the whole episode, and it's so bad.
Yep. But anime rave gold.
It's like listening to cats being tortured. It's the worst.
Oh. Now, remember, by making him watch it, I've got to watch it too, So
why would you do that to yourself?
Again.
It's like that one Garfield comic strip where John is just basically like, and now it's time to reflect on my day. Second panel. Ah! Third panel, he's crying in his hands, and Garfield's like, why do you do that to yourself? And that's just the Steins Gate bit right there.
Pretty much.
I have a challenge for y'all.
Okay.
And this challenge is inspired by Dave, because Dave encouraged me to do this, so I blame him for any consequences of this. I can cross over anything with anything. Go.
Oh, okay. Oh, I was excited for this. How about Escaflowne with Smash Brothers?
Okay, alright. So, as we know, in Smash Brothers, it's action figures being played with, right? Okay, so here's what happens. Here's how the crossover works. The anime ends, and Sir Isaac Newton does whatever the fuck Sir Isaac Newton did in that show, okay? Meanwhile, what it is we see the little boy playing with Smash Brothers figures, literally watching his, you know what, I'm not gonna be derogatory to the women here. We see the little girl playing with the Smash Brothers figures and watching her brother play with this ridiculous Escaflowne action figure and the Sir Isaac Newton toy they found somewhere. And she's like, what are you talking about? What do you mean it's Sir Isaac Newton? Why is that guy a girl now?
Why do you have a Sir Isaac Newton toy?
And then
who has that?
And then what it is the parents think that this is a little weird and they try to put a stop to it. So the Smash Brothers figures and the Escaflowne figures have to stop the parents' hands, which are the new master hands that they have to fight against together. And that's how we get Escaflowne cross Smash Brothers.
So you want to do a tag team of Mario and Vaughn?
So these action figures will of course have to team up to prevent the taken away from the Escaflowne toys, and maybe there'd be some side plot thread where secretly the Escaflowne toys are evil and making everyone in the real world go crazy, because they'll do that because Escaflowne sucks.
So then we'll see Bowser doing his forward smash on Hitomi and send her flying off the screen.
Except when Hitomi flies off the screen, she hits like the head of some other person in the real world, and that person's eyes turn red and he starts murdering everyone around them.
While claiming that he's Sir Isaac Newton.
Yes. See? I can cross over anything into anything. Thank you for that assist.
Like one of the very first mails I sent to Super Best Friends for their friendcast, I keep asking, what would their kind of favorite crossover be? Because I like thinking in my head, I like crossing over The Walking Dead with a Muso.
What's a Muso?
You know, Dynasty Warriors.
Oh! So Dynasty Warriors Walking Dead.
So
Walking Warriors.
Basically Dynasty Warriors as it is now, because you're not fighting intelligent enemies, they might as well be zombies.
Well, but here's the problem, though. How do you do this? There are enemy generals that require more than just a cursory glance.
Well, maybe in this universe, because it doesn't, maybe it's a different sort of Walking Dead universe, there could be, like, Resident Evil zombies where the red ones are the super fast ones, or there could be, like, some muscled zombies, or the Las Plagas ones that when you take their head off, they actually have a second head going.
What I'm hearing is we're basically looking for a, not so much a Walking Dead Muso, Left 4 Dead Muso.
But a Left 4 Dead Muso, like, isn't Left 4 Dead already a Muso, basically?
No.
It's like lots and lots of zombies, and you have to run more than fight them head on.
Yeah.
Yeah,
and Walking Dead is kind of like also the same thing, where it's also the survival, because you have to take into account other human factions that'll try to kill you, too, for your supplies and stuff.
But if we're going to do a Left 4 Dead Muso, we might as well just do a Valve Muso. It might as well just be like Gordon Freeman and Chell are teaming up against GLaDOS, who's teamed up with the Combine.
But right there, though, it's already never going to happen. You mentioned Gordon Freeman.
No, they can put him in a Muso.
Well,
that's not a mainline game. They can.
The second anybody would bring it up, it would be, no, we have no plans this time.
And there are the red and blue mercenary teams from Team Fortress. They're palette swaps of each other, so when one goes up against the other, well, like if you pick the same character, like two scouts, it doesn't have to be two of the same scout. You can have a red and blue scout.
I think they could do a Valve Muso pretty easily.
Care Bears cross Kill a Kill.
Okay, easy. You think you stumped me, but this one is simple. Dead simple. Oh, look, that evil Raggio woman isn't caring a whole lot. Let's go down there and help them out. Care Bears stare. No!
No, Care Bears. Because the life threads are already entering their brain.
Yeah. So what happens? So what happens is the life fibers are now interwoven in the Care Bears, and since they are fiber already, because they're dolls, right?
I think the Care Bears are actually living beings.
No, they're not bears. I've seen bears. So it interweaves with their fibers. The life bears, as they're now called, they are reborn with a new purpose: revenge against their dark creator. However, as they're about to kill Raggio, they remember their true purpose, to care and to help the people of Earth. So instead they try their stare beams on her again, and fortunately that was just a distraction that Ryuko needed to kill Raggio once and for all.
And now it's time for a game of disappearing bears.
Yes, Raggio should totally... And what if Raggio teams up with that kid? Oh my god!
No, but he became good.
Yeah, but we can spin the story so that he becomes good a different way. If Raggio's number 2 can redeem herself, I'm pretty sure that Darkheart can too, if working with Raggio.
This has been bugging me. Darkheart is the name of that ethos, that malevolence incarnated as a child. But what was the name of Beastly's boss?
That was No Heart.
Oh, that has been bugging me for the last couple of days.
Hey, can I eat on your podcast?
Yeah, you can. Thanks for spilling it all over my couch. I'm just saying that in advance because I know what's going to happen.
I spill nothing.
Of course not. Voicemail!
Hello, Carlos. Hello, Dave. The fall shows are finally ending like Yona and Parasite, and that makes me sad. But there's a good thing to all of this. The show named Gintama is coming back. I finished that show a couple months ago, but I'm excited to see more of it. It's got a lot of references to other popular things in Japan. There's also a lot of dirty comedy and great characters, including the girl characters. The girl characters don't play second fiddle to the boy characters, which is awesome. And there's also a lot of cool things, such as they fight aliens sometimes, and some side characters come back in later episodes, which is good. And they also point back to where this character appeared, and it's really cool in a way, because a lot of shows don't do that. They just make a character up for sake of filler. And there's also the original anime characters, like those stupid characters in the 2003 Fullmetal series, but I digress. Anyways, yeah, Gintama's coming back. I'm happy about it. I recommend you guys watch it. And, hey Carlos, hey Dave, what was your favorite show 2014? or your favorite show that came out in fall 2014 that you haven't finished yet. Mine was Parasite, and Katsuki no Yona is a close second. Shirobako is third.
Oh, Meowth, always trying to get under my skin with, what did she say this time? I don't even remember now. What did she say? Oh yeah, she crapped on Full Metal Alchemist 2003, the superior Full Metal Alchemist series.
You're right,
Missing only one thing that the Brotherhood had, and that was Olivier Armstrong, the only good part of Brotherhood.
Hey, did you guys even finish the 2014 anime stuff?
Oh no!
That's funny.
We finished the Magi Brilliant Park. We finished Yuki no wa Ishidaru. We finished Master Bowman and Vanitas. We finished Twin Tail, Orino Twin Tail. And I think that's it.
That's all we finished.
How many do you need left?
Like 6 more.
You do know that
5.
5, right. Oh, we'll be done well before fall 2015. And by well before, I mean spring 2016. So, she said shows, but given the context of the question, I assume she meant fall 2014 anime.
Yeah.
My favorite was Yuki Yuna wa Ishidaru so far, and I kind of floundered between is this good enough to be my best and isn't it? Unless one of the other 5 really swoops in and kind of steals that spot, I think it's going to be Yuki Yuna for me. Cause
I think the only 2 that have a chance is Kukuri and Tribe Cool Crew.
Those are the only 2 that could do it for me. And we still have to go back and watch those. I liked Parasite. I liked Kiseiju. Dave didn't. I still have to watch more of it. Yuki Yuna really did it for me because there's very little wrong with that series. Some giant plot holes and some really inappropriate fan service sometimes are about it.
What about Amagi Brilliant Park?
Amagi Brilliant Park was really good too. It was like Futurama, and I say that as high praise. And it had a little bit of Full Metal Panic in it by the same guy even. So, damaged main characters with great chemistry, and it just really worked out. Really legitimately funny show too, and legitimately dramatic and had tons of heart. As for Gintama, I've heard good things. I've seen scenes. I think this is the show where 2 guys are chasing this one truck, and a whole bunch of dicks start popping out the side because the truck has corpses or something in it, cadavers. And I think that's the show she's talking about. It made my list for that scene alone, but I've never seen it yet.
Same here. Pretty much the same favorites from 2014 fall. Again, I didn't like Parasite. I mean, the main character was okay. The concept was okay, but the execution wasn't doing it for me. But yeah, Amagi Brilliant Park and Yuki Yuna pretty much highlighted 2014 with nothing being superior to them so far.
So far, yeah, but I do think that both Tribe Cool Crew and Guguri Kukuri-sen are definitely contenders there, but that would be about it. There were some shows that I thought were going to be my favorite that didn't end up being that. And we'll have the audio and eventually the video up for this, but Orino Twin Tail kind of fell off the face of the earth for me. It started really strong, but it never really got past its initial joke. And it never got dull or boring, but it never really excited me the same way it did at the beginning either. Although it did end well. It did end well.
You were super excited for that up until about episode 8 or 9 when we finally realized that they were...
That this was it. That was it.
They weren't... It wasn't like Kill la Kill where it was ramping up every episode to something absolutely epic where you didn't think that it could actually exceed itself. No, it just... leveled off.
Yeah, Kill la Kill and Gurren Lagann were really good at raising the stakes all the time. And Orino Twin Tail was like, here's our silly joke. Here's our silly joke again. A third time. Slight variation, back to the formula, and that's how it stayed. Yeah. It did end well, and I would watch a sequel of that. The other one that was supposed to be not terrible, but was Vanitas. Vanadis got too hung up over its wartime political narrative, which wasn't very good, and it reduced its character interactions to boob jokes and fan service. And that show ended with a whimper. Also, Roland, with his stupid Durandal, beats 2 magically power war maidens by himself, and then is killed by bees! I'll never get over how he was killed by bees.
Killed by bees.
He was killed by bees.
The bad guys got him into a room which they then flooded with bees, and he died of anaphylactic shock.
He beat 2 war maidens who... Okay, 1 war maiden is enough to decimate an army. Roland was an exception. He was kind of... You remember Gowry at the end of Slayer Season 2, where they just couldn't fucking touch him? This guy was that. Roland was a super good swordsman with a magic sword that could, like, repel magic. So,
and then,
the War Maidens, just 2 of them fought him at the same time, and he just he nullified or deflected all the magic, and he outfought them physically. They couldn't touch this guy until the main character had to swoop in and save the girls, because unfortunately the show became that. And then Roland realized he was in the wrong, joined them, but said he was going to go back to his kingdom to try to find answers, and he was assassinated by bees!
So basically what happened
Oh,
is
no,
that when he went...
bees!
So when he went back to his kingdom, he was like, he passed by an Animal Crossing town, bumped into a tree, a beehive came down, and then he was swarmed by bees.
Animal Crossing Vanadis crossover. By the way, that's an open challenge for the remainder of the podcast. You guys, you want to challenge me with a crossover, or anybody? Poe seems to be in on it.
ReBoot
we'll do a
and
crossover.
Friends.
Did we finish answering the voicemail?
I
Pretty much.
Yeah, pretty much. Okay. ReBoot and Friends?
Yeah, the
Okay.
show with Rachel and Ross.
Yeah. Okay.
Oh,
Okay.
the only
I'm trying
crossover
to
I
think
want to
of-
hear is the cast of Friends pops up right in front of Megabyte. He kills them. There, we've had.
But how does he kill
ReBooting
them?
Friends.
Yeah, how does he kill them when he's a virus, Dave? Let's think here. Okay.
This is the reboot the Guardian Code cross friend.
While
Yes, because viruses can't kill people.
while
But he's a computer virus.
yeah, let's have some consistency, okay? Let's have some standards on the Two Fat Guys Talk podcast, please. Okay.
I'm trying to think of
So-
2 crossovers he can't do.
Carlos and standards. That's not a crossover that ever
So Ross is at work one day, and he notices something strange about his computer, and there's a coded message. And he looks at the disk drive, because his computer still has a disk drive, and it sucks him in. And then he appears in mainframe, where Megabyte promptly kills him. At this point, because I don't like Ross either.
Ross is fucking right.
Yeah, fuck Ross. And, and what happens is, Bob realizes that was one of the mythical users and uses that to teleport back to the real world in Ross's body. So Bob has to put up with all the weird antics and hijinks in the Friends world to learn more about the users. And he uses this knowledge to go back to mainframe, and he downloads it into Megabyte, so Megabyte is disabled because all that happens is that he makes bad sitcom jokes and has overdramatic moments about what love he's lost.
Excellent.
Meanwhile, Hexadecimal is probably hacked into the internet and is now in the system server of the fat naked guy across the street.
Yes. So again, another crossover down. Get me a stamp so I can stamp a wall. I really want to punch you in the face right now, dude.
Okay, so I've been playing the Professor Layton vs. Phoenix Wright game. The game so far has been fun. The puzzles in the Layton side have been hard unless I use a hint coin. Hint coins are like the coins to give you hints, obviously. I don't need to explain it, you boys are old enough to understand what they are. Anyways, the Phoenix Wright side involves Phoenix Wright, Maya Fey, I believe, and Layton and Luke show up later, but in the Phoenix Wright side, there's 4 witnesses on the stand instead of 1, and you have to interrogate them all and find out who's lying. Yeah, so that's how far I am. I'm only on chapter 2, so this could get more fun later on. But this brings me up to the question I am asking you guys. So, are you Team Professor Layton? Or are you Team Phoenix Wright? Professor Layton has a cool hat, but Professor Phoenix Wright has a cool finger point. I don't know. I like both of them, but I can never get into Layton's games because puzzles aren't really my thing when it comes to video games, I'm sorry. I do like Layton and Luke, they're cool characters, I just don't like how the puzzles work. Ugh. I'm a fan of Phoenix Wright, though. I like how Phoenix Wright's games work. They're like, you have to pick out the evidence and figure out who's lying and who's telling the truth, and I find that fun. So what's your pick? You Team Layton or Team Wright?
I think this is an easy one to answer. Phoenix Wright has fought She-Hulk. Professor Layton is not. Phoenix Wright.
In terms of the lawyering world, wouldn't Phoenix Wright not be allowed to look for, like, clues and stuff in order to see if someone's guilty or not?
I always looked at the Ace
Because
Attorney.
of defenders?
I always looked at the Ace Attorney series as this weird alternate reality where it's like Judge Dredd, but a lot nicer, where attorneys are the judges, so they have to do multiple roles, like private investigator and attorney.
You know, I haven't played either game, but by the description that Meowth gave, I would say Phoenix Wright.
Also, we should probably point out that all but one of these voicemails is from Meowth. So we should probably credit her in the podcast notes. Excuse me, Mr. Editor. Yeah? Make sure you credit Meowth in the description, please. You got it, Chief! Okay.
Yeah, both of these game series extremely bore me, so I'm gonna go with which one's the lawyer?
Phoenix Wright.
Phoenix Wright.
He fought She-Hulk.
He could sentence Dr. Doom with his level 3 super.
That's correct. He found Dr. Doom so guilty that Dr. Doom died.
I did play one of these games, but it was the one that Phoenix Wright wasn't in it.
Was it
Justice?
Apollo Justice, or was it the Edgeworth game?
It must have been Apollo Justice. And I played it for a little bit. I'm like, okay, this is stupid. And moved on.
Gotcha. But yeah, I'm Team Phoenix Wright, even though they're not my cup of tea games. They're pretty well beloved. So, I mean, Capcom's doing something right, keeping one good series alive. Or two, as this case would be.
Phoenix Wright cross Pokemon.
This one's easy. The Pokemon file a class action lawsuit against Professor Oak and all the little children that he's recruited to ruin the ecosystem. And the class action suit is simple. Slavery. And they want it to stop, and they want damages. And Phoenix Wright finds all the trainers guilty, and then the Pokemon rule the Earth and kill all of humanity.
Oh dear.
Well, that means he would be totally... This would totally go up Team Plasma's alley.
Sure, and then Team Plasma wins before they are murdered. And whatever that guy, that megalomaniac is from X and Y, who openly says at the beginning of the game he wants to kill all the idiots and nobody takes him seriously.
Oh yeah, Lysander.
Yeah, Lysander should have been jailed at the beginning of the game. Like, people get stopped at airports for less than what that guy said.
Funny thing, in X and Y, his fate changes from X and Y, but even though it all starts with a giant laser that falls right on him, in Pokemon Y, he just flat out dies because it's Yveltal's power of destruction and death. In Pokemon X, because of Xerneas, the legendary of life, he gets hit with a beam. He's granted eternal life, but he's trapped in his base and he can't get out.
Here's the thing about
Pokemon's never been known for its story, though.
Well, that's not true. Past a certain generation, they take great pains to put a narrative together. It's just, it's a really
not
silly...
a very good one.
That's the thing. It's a silly narrative because it has to be bound by the constraints of you're a kid trying to be a Pokemon master. It can never just be you're a kid who wanders out into the world and becomes a hero. It always has to be you're a kid who has to go stop the destruction of the world, and then you have to pull it back and become champion of some shitty league that wouldn't exist had the bad guys won.
It's like in the latest remake for Omega Ruby Alpha Sapphire. Yeah, I actually bought Alpha Sapphire some time ago.
Oh, Popo.
They updated the purpose more. They updated the teams, the enemy team's purposes, other than just, we want to expand the ocean, or we want to make more land. For Ruby, for Team Magma, they wanted to expand the land so that people could actually have more places to live on, to advance the human civilization. But for Team Aqua, it's just to expand the oceans to make Pokemon live more happily and freely. So basically, they become
one of those two
a sort of
teams is
hippie.
right.
And whatever one you're against, the other team tries to help you. But they really, like, for Archie, the leader of Team Aqua, they really beef him up. They give him, like, muscles and an anchor. Yeah, he has, like, a mega anchor that involves his Sharpedo.
There are a surprising number of anime characters who think an anchor is a weapon.
Like May from Guilty Gear.
Exactly.
Hey,
Okay,
if you're that strong and you're basically hitting like a club, the anchor is a weapon.
No, use an axe. It's better. May's original weapon was an axe, actually. Go ahead.
I said, who else has an anchor?
Freeman from Battle Fantasia has an anchor. That Metal Shark player from Mega Man X6 uses an anchor.
I forgot about Metal Shark player.
Metal Shark player, possibly best Maverick name ever. Metal Shark player.
I don't know. Mashing Gungaroo is right up there.
It's pretty up there, as is Duff McWhalen.
Oh no, what about Terrible Tambo?
That's not a Maverick, but that is a default name from Jade Empire.
No, okay, what was...
Tenacious Shen, I believe, is another.
Yeah, it was. No, but,
Terrible Tunyon.
There we go. I was thinking
Terrible
about Terrible
Tunyon?
Yeah.
No, Tornado Tunyon. That's from Mega Man X7. That was the Onion, because they were really scraping the bottom of the barrel on this one.
And then they came back. Strong for X8.
There was an Optic Sunflower in X8, but the problem is that he was awesome. So he couldn't make fun of him too much. He had a freaking satellite laser he trained on you, for cripe's sake. I'm a little disappointed in at least two of you. Because there were topics... Wait, no, you brought up yours. There was one you were going to bring up, and you didn't bring it up yet. Dave.
I was talking more than David was.
No, I know. You brought up your topic, so my bad there.
I've completely forgotten it then.
Oh my lord. Okay, here's one of the ones you were going to bring up. Oh no, wait, that's not valid anymore, because it turns out Earthbound was only sold out because Nintendo ran out of codes. Not because Nintendo was trying to pull a Disney Vault situation.
Yeah.
Oh, geez. What were you going to bring up? It was a good topic, too. This is why you write everything down, Dave.
Why do you always insult each other?
Oh, all the time.
Yep.
I said, why?
Well, the way I figure it is I'm always right and Dave isn't, so eventually there's going to be disagreements.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, David, I have a question for you. Don't you think Carlos would make a really good Iroh cosplay?
Absolutely.
Right?
I'm not doing it. I don't want to do it. It's a lot of work for nothing.
Oh,
for the same reason I won't do Big Band. I could do it.
You should be Big Band.
Or Rufus.
Or Rufus. I could do Rufus.
No, I want him to do Big Band now.
And Carlos isn't round enough for Rufus.
Yeah, I'm not quite big enough for Rufus.
Or you could be the round guy, the Yuzuru from Tribe Cool Crew. The Rufus of Tribe Cool Crew.
The problem is that, despite what I may tell people, I can't really dance. I'd like to be a badass fat dancer like that guy from Tribe Cool Crew, but I am not a dancer. I'm a lover, not a dancer.
Hey, maybe you should Zumba so you could dance.
I probably should just get into the Zumba and dance and do what Bob from Tekken did and try to become fatter.
Yeah, that was his storyline. That's why he was so fat. He used to be the skinny rich kid, and then and he would go into like martial arts tournaments, and then one day he fought a large opponent. I'm pretty sure this is how it was anyway.
Yeah, he fought a large opponent,
and then he couldn't win. He couldn't beat him, and then he's like, "Oh my god, I need to be large." So that's what he did.
He was large and became in charge until his ending happened, where he was super famous as a large guy, but then woke up and he turned out he was skinny again.
No, because he lost all the weight fighting people.
Basically. He stays fat on purpose because he knows how to throw that weight around.
Yeah.
Isn't Bob supposed to be one of the better fighters in that universe?
I think so.
Yeah.
I could be mistaken. Voicemail!
So, SAO2 aired on Toonami last Saturday. First episode, Death Gun kills a dude in the video game, and that kills him in real life, I think. Then Gary Stu and his girlfriend are talking, and then Gary Stu has to go to a cafe to meet this other dude he knew from, I guess, recovering from SAO1, all the psychological trauma and stuff. And then, I guess Gary Stu has to go kill Death Gun. And I guess at one point, Gary Stu's girlfriend was talking about having a baby, which is weird. You're 17. Go party or something. Go have fun. Don't worry about having a baby. That's grown-up stuff. Anyways, that episode was really, really boring. And also sounds like it could be good, but, you know, SAO, it's either you really love it or you really hate it. Never an in-the-middle situation. Anyways, are there any shows that you guys know that have the same situation as SAO does, which is basically, do you love it or do you hate it? And also, when you guys finish SAO 1, are you gonna do like a spoiler cast about it? Because I really want to hear your thoughts. Or mostly Carlos's thoughts, since Dave actually likes that shit.
Oh, snap!
Meowth, you.
I want to point out something Dave said as we were listening. He, in frustration, let out, "Who is Gary Stu?" I just want to throw that out there.
Oh, that was good.
People who talk about a character by their voice actor's name.
You can't be serious. You are not serious right now.
And what if I am?
I don't even know where this is going.
Do you actually think Gary Stu is the voice actor's name?
No. That's the joke.
I don't think you were joking.
Gary Stu is not the voice actor's name.
Who is Gary Stu, Dave?
Who is Gary Stu?
I have no fucking clue.
Unbelievable.
Who is...
Have you heard of the concept of a Mary Sue?
Oh.
A Gary Stu is a male Mary Sue.
I didn't know that was the name. I thought it was just
I do.
a male Mary Sue.
Yeah, it's a male character who's basically practically perfect in every way and
yeah, I
has
know,
no
but
faults.
I just called him Mary Sue as well.
Oh, you can, but okay.
Like, I'll be like, fucking, I don't know.
You know, I'm gonna let our listeners judge you too, but more you, Dave.
Why judge
fuck
me?
you.
I just call everyone a Mary Sue. You're a goddamn Mary Sue.
I am a Mary Sue. I am
No,
practically
he's
perfect
not.
in every way. The story does not
He's
give me
the
enough
opposite of
confidence.
Mary Sue.
A show that here's the thing, this is all subjective, so we have to kind of look at shows we've seen, and seen that the reaction is either love it or hate it, like Sword Art Online, I think. And that's kind of a tough one to call. I can think of some movies.
Madoka!
Whoa.
No, Madoka, most people like it, or think that it's just okay. Not a lot of people have the correct opinion that it's overrated. I can think of like movies, like American movies that were love and hated type of things, like
what?
The Cable Guy, Jim Carrey and Matthew Broderick.
Hated it.
Yeah, that is a movie that you either hated or loved.
I don't remember it. I have to watch it
It
again.
was a very well done movie that poked fun at a lot of TV shows of the time. It definitely time stamped itself for sure. It definitely dated itself, but it was a very well done movie with a great soundtrack and some great characters that people either correctly loved or unjustly hated. So
Poor David.
At a certain point, you just start tuning them out.
what else was loved or hated? Can you think of any animes that were?
How about Lord of the Rings?
Lord of the Rings? Did a lot of people really hate it?
Yeah, you were in one camp or the other. You either liked it and wanted to talk about it, or you hated it and told people to shut the fuck up because they're tired of hearing about it.
Like the trilogy of movies you're
Yeah.
talking about.
Or even the books.
Huh.
It was really two camps. It was you love the movies or you love the books and it's like, oh, it was just the best, or it was like, shut up, they were garbage.
Is that right? I've never encountered that.
I have.
I generally encounter the opinion that Lord of the Rings is universally loved.
Titanic.
Titanic was pretty universally loved.
Or you had the other side of the camp, which was shut up.
Okay, but everything has two sides. We're talking about things that generally the opinion of it was split down the middle.
Well, what about the middle ground where you could play that Titanic beat 'em up? I kind of want to play that Titanic.
Yeah, I want to play it too, but I mean,
Kind of like, I have
Ocarina of Time?
yeah.
No, wait, that's
No,
a game. though.
Majora's Mask.
Majora's Mask is a good example.
Yes.
The people are split whether that was a good game or not, although it's
I
kind
haven't
of
played
enjoying a lot of a renaissance now where everyone thought it was great now.
I've never been out of the camp of the game was garbage.
I remember at the time it came out, it was love or hate.
A lot of people still say it's love or hate, though.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Because when I saw that they were releasing it, the only opinion I saw online, granted, this is all anecdotal, was that people were so happy it's finally coming out and getting the respect it deserves.
And yet you look at reviews for the game, for example. Now, granted, comments on reviews are you're always going to have the trolls that come out. But, again, it's very much split down the middle, even now, of, no, this game doesn't deserve a high rating because it was a piece of garbage, or the ones that were like, this is perfect. So, yeah, no, Majora's Mask is a great example of that, because, like, yeah, personally, it's one of the main Zelda games I absolutely hate. Why? Because I tend to hate games that arbitrarily put a time clock on me.
A time clock?
Yeah.
3 days.
Yeah.
Yeah, it has a counter timing.
No, I know. I was kind of poking at the term time clock.
That's what it's
as
called,
opposed
right?
to a space clock. Never mind. No, like, I get that, but that's kind of the point. The point of the game is that it's kind of Groundhog Day, right?
But
sort of.
I also heard that it's, like, I haven't played it myself, but I also heard it's side quest the game.
Yeah, and that's the thing,
That's another big thing.
a friend of the show, Shane, who I've mentioned before, shout-outs to Shane, he has said that the first time the moon crashed into the planet and he lost all his progress, it was when he swore off playing the game. And I appreciate that because in our modern and terribly busy lives, we kind of want the game to have a little more respect for our time. On the other hand, I get the creative decision to do that at the same time. It's kind of like with Steel Battalion on Xbox, the Xbox original, where if you did not eject from your mech before it blew up, the game deleted your save file.
What?
Because you're dead.
Yeah, I remember.
Oh my god!
I would not like that.
If you ejected, you would be safe. Although if you ejected too much, you'd be fired and you'd lose your save again.
I don't like any game that will delete my save file, but I mean the main games that I can think of that have that same sort of system that I've played, accepted, and then gotten tired of is Dead Rising.
Dead Rising was another one that people were torn on, because Dead Rising was influenced by Breath of Fire 5, which was another split half-and-half game. And the idea was, you're going to have to replay the game over and over again to get the full story. You could do it in one run if you're a speedrunner, but generally that's not what they want you to do, right?
What do you have to do in 5?
The idea in Breath of Fire 5 was that as you went through the game over and over, you kept your memories or something so that you were slowly piecing together the narrative.
But
eventually you would find the right way out.
But you couldn't complete it through the first time unless you were a speedrunner, because as you went through, you had a dragon meter. It was slowly rising up, and if it ever reached 100, it was a game over, and your file would be deleted. Your file would...
your file wouldn't be deleted, but you would lose your progress for that run.
Yeah, then you would start over the beginning.
So the idea was, though, that since you kept your levels, and since you knew where to go, you didn't have to rely on the dragon gauge, because you had to rely on it to power through because you were too under-leveled to beat the bosses.
Yeah.
But I mean...
And for Dead Rising, you had to play through multiple times to be able to hold more items, be able to know where you had to go, and the main reason I started to despise the game up until Dead Rising 3 here recently was certain events only happened in certain hour or 2 hour long periods. So you actually had to print off usually a graph of what events happened during which time pieces and figure out the easiest way to get from A to B while still doing everything perfectly to get the best ending.
Yeah, and there's a case to be made that that's too disrespectful of your time, I guess. Like, look, I'm of the camp where, if you run your head into a game's brick wall, you dust your fucking head off and you try again. But there's a limit. I know the audience that likes Kaizo Mario games, but I'm not that audience because that's just too far for me, for instance. I would much rather play something like I Want to Be the Guy, which seems like it's really hard, but it's actually quite respectful of your time, because there are save points everywhere, you can pick up where you left off, and when Kyan was making the game, he was subtly encouraging you to continue. It's actually a very fair game by comparison to, say, Battletoads, which is really trying to discourage you, and really trying to break you, or Ninja Gaiden 1, for instance, on the NES.
You know, I don't think Ninja Gaiden 1 deserves to be in the same place. Because even though I would get frustrated with the game, it was never to the point of Battletoads, where it's just like, okay, Battletoads really hit that wall, and it was more of a go fuck yourself kind of thing.
What about
Ninja Gaiden 1, on the other hand, was like, okay, you know something? No, you're not beating me.
There's a certain bird placed by a certain wall that disagrees with you in the final level. Go on.
What about that Ninja Turtles game?
The first Ninja Turtles on the NES?
I think so.
It wasn't that difficult.
It was hard.
Well, no,
but
what
it
about
wasn't...
that water part with the bombs and stuff?
Okay, that level was tough, because even the top speedrunner only has 20 seconds left when he does that level.
Here's the thing. I was one of those for that water level.
Oh, yeah.
I had that water level memorized.
Because you had to. You had to speedrun that level, or here's the thing. Unless you did what I did, which is sacrifice a turtle near the end so your timer resets but the bombs are all still diffused, or you sped run it, it's a game over. If the timer runs out, it's game over, even if you have, no matter how many turtles you have left. You know back to the beginning of the game.
You know that one section that even, like, Angry Video Game Nerd referenced here recently, where it has all they just look at all the reads and you're like, okay, no, screw this. I used to be able to go through that with very little damage. It just, you got used to how many clicks you had to do to keep yourself going along through it without being completely killed. But again, that wasn't so much a wall. That was...
I would argue that's a difficulty spike for a new player. Because again, the best player in the world still just barely does it. So for a new player, that is a really steep hill too soon.
Fair enough.
But I mean... But I totally get what you're saying. You had it down. And I mean, there are lots of hard games that people call hard that I don't think are terribly difficult. Like, it's just a matter of fact that, you know, as you play something over and over, even the most difficult thing will eventually become very easy, right?
Yeah.
What prompted this discussion? What was Meowth asking again?
Love
or hated. Things that are, like, split right down the middle. The movie Three Kings is split down the middle because... it's very anti-American. It kind of has anti-American criticisms, and it was at a time that America was very rah-rah and let's go us kind of deal. So I remember Three Kings was very split down the middle.
The Star Wars prequels.
Star Wars prequels are definitely split down the middle, even though they blow. But I mean, yeah, a lot of people argue, you know, and I'm one of them. I still argue Phantom Menace is not horrible, but that's not popular opinion. Like.
Next voicemail. Let's hear from Ronan.
Oh, we want to finish off the voicemails? Okay, why not?
But then that means you can't say voicemail anymore.
Yeah, but we're at the hour mark-ish, so we're gonna wrap up soon anyway.
Hello, just one mail this time, just a simple question. If you could change an important part of gaming history, you can define importance however you like. What would you change? How would you change it? And what do you think the ramifications would be in present gaming culture? Yep, that's it. Bye.
I don't know. I think Carlos might be thinking along the exact same lines as I am on this one, but I'm just going to throw it out there. Important moment in history of gaming? Gamergate.
Well, that wasn't what I was...
Except, for me, I'd eliminate all the guys who started Gamergate.
Yeah, here's the thing. Yeah, Gamergate is an online terrorist movement. There's no debate on this one. It's not a two-sided issue. They're hate mongers and horrible human beings who need to find the nearest heavy traffic and walk right into it. Eliminate
that could hurt somebody innocent, though.
Yeah, I'm willing to bet that the overall effect on the world will just be more positive. The issue, though, is that I kind of don't want to justify Gamergate being a part of gaming history. Because while gamers need to sit back and realize that they let this happen, and we need to be shat on for a little bit, I I don't want to give it that justification. So instead, although I see where you're coming from, what would I name?
Or swatting.
Swatting too as well. I kind of want to eliminate the entire hoopla behind Street Fighter 4 reviving fighting games. Because fighting games were still being made before Street Fighter 4 came out, and Street Fighter 4 brought back fighting games via a game that is actually very inaccessible, filled to the brim with one-frame links, filled with, like, terrible UI design choices and button configurations that don't use the correct method of configuring buttons, even though that's been around for years and years. And it kind of brought back execution fetishism to an extreme. And since Street Fighter 4 is like the most popular fighting game on Earth right now, it kind of defined a lot of fighting game culture, for better, for worse, mostly for worse. That's what I would change. And I think the ramifications now would be that the fighting game community might be a little smaller than it is now, but maybe ArcSys Games might have been the leading player here, and we just have better fighting games and gamers overall.
I want to say, man, that's a tough one. I would like to say I would change, I kind of want to say how 3D games kind of started, but not that they were bad, not that it was a bad thing.
How far back are we going on the Newsy?
Well, that's why I'm like, oh, there's so many points in time I would change. Like, I would change when the, oh god, where would I change?
Maybe like 3D graphics or like the Virtual Boy.
No.
Go even further back than that, Lawnmower Man.
What the
I've
hell?
never
is
played
that?
that game.
Well, it was more the movie that spawned the original 3D game kind of.
No, I would get rid of, like, lazy developers who...
Well, there goes all the portable games.
who, well, like, for example, like, there shouldn't be so many glitches in a 3D Sonic game. I would get rid of, like, those people who are like, oh, well, we can get away with it because it's 3D and stuff.
Well, that's been around for a while, that segment of gaming, which was very prominent in PC gaming and still is, and unfortunately now is prominent everywhere, where they release now and patch later.
Exactly, that's why I would get rid of that point in time. Be like,
Keep in mind, that point in time is all the time.
No, shh. It started.
No, that's been... I mean, I remember back in the days
I
of...
said, no, shh. It happened in one point in time.
Yeah, no. Sorry, sorry, Kiki. That doesn't really go along with that. I mean, that's been around even since the early days, like the 386 and 486, where I remember Doom originally. The first version that Doom came out, there was a patch that was circulated on BBSs to fix a sound error.
For our younger viewers, BBSs are bulletin board systems. It's kind of like a modern forum, but in the Flintstones era.
No, that's not really correct.
Yeah, these aren't woodpeckers jabbing away at stone slabs.
My BBS had woodpeckers in it.
I would get rid of
This BBS
Chrono Trigger.
That actually has some real ramifications.
Yeah, get rid of Chrono Trigger. What do you do now? What do you do? What do you do?
What's Chrono Trigger?
Would that really hurt Square though?
What's Square?
Now there's a change you could make. Get
Who
rid of
are
Square.
you? What are you doing in our house?
Uh-huh.
Well, because if you got rid of Chrono Trigger, because Chrono Trigger was still when it was Square Soft, right?
Mm-hmm.
It wouldn't have. Okay, but then Square probably wouldn't have fused with Enix anymore. No, maybe that would still happen because...
That may have actually happened earlier. Square wouldn't have had all of the additional budget and everything.
See, the thing is, let's remember, Chrono Trigger was supposed to be Final Fantasy VII. That was the original Final Fantasy VII prototype, and the idea was going to be a detective who investigated weird anomalies in time.
No.
And, so, since Square tried to make it an all-stars kind of game, that's why there's so much schism in it. So let's say that never happened and they just scrapped Chrono Trigger. Okay, what happens then? They release a whole bunch of Japan-only Super Nintendo games we never got, like Seiken Densetsu 3 and Live Alive and Bahamut Lagoon. And Final Fantasy VII still probably happens.
No, you know what would come
Chrono
out?
Cross doesn't, at least not in the form we know of it.
But you know what would come out instead? That 3D Final Fantasy 6.
That was just a demo for 7, though. That's the thing.
Was it? I thought they were gonna make that first.
No, they released that. I mean, the thing is, like, that was just a demo to show what a 3D Final Fantasy combat system might look like.
Oh.
Yeah. There was never going to be a 3D Final Fantasy 6, especially since Japan doesn't much care for that entry in the series.
Why would
And
they
it was
put...
on the Ultra 64 at the time, which failed.
Well, no, the Ultra 64, the Nintendo 64 never failed. It wasn't popular. It didn't fail.
It was just that's what did to really work well on the Ultra 64 because of hardware limitations on the cartridge.
No, it worked, but Square, because Square sucked, even then, wanted to load up their game with full motion video, and the cartridge wouldn't handle that at the time. A few years later, Resident Evil 2 on the N64 had full motion video in it, and hilariously enough, Nintendo 3DS carts hold way more than DVDs now, and probably all of them have some kind of FMV on them, so Square kind of lost there, didn't they?
But that... Okay. Did Square buy Enix?
Enix bought Square because in Japan, Enix's sales were much more steady, and they were just more financially stable. But a lot of Square's top brass was put in charge, so hilariously enough, the entity Square Enix, I think they, like, bleed money every year, like... Every year they wonder why they suck.
Here's the hilarious thing.
Well, that's why Coach.
While Square Enix is a composite company, their actual year-end sales, if you ever look at what titles affect Square Enix, the Dragon Quest games are not actually included in Square Enix's year-end budget calculations.
What if the very first Nintendo failed?
Like the NES?
Yeah.
That would have changed gaming immensely, because the NES, there was a video game bust in that era. If the NES failed, we might not have had video games the way we know it.
That would have ended it, because, Atari basically crashed in the late 70s, early 80s.
Now
With no help thanks to E.T.
We need to keep in mind that there were some markets where the NES was not as popular as the Sega Master System, like Brazil and certain areas of Europe. So Sega probably would have been the top dog. The Genesis would have been the top 16-bit system.
Oh man.
And we would be having a very Sega-centric kind of era.
Carlos, we would have a Sega U.
I think Sega would have become the top dog if that ever happened. Sega U.
Mario would be crossing over with Sonic. Mario would be on...
Nintendo makes Mario games for Sega consoles, and eventually... Wait, what's going on?
Mario on a PlayStation system.
No, you got it backwards, stupid.
The very first Mario and Sonic crossover game would be an action platformer instead of an Olympics game.
Yeah, right.
Shigeru Miyamoto sucking cock for crack.
There would be like Mario flipping shit, and he was all glitchy, and he would be running through walls.
You're gonna have to restate what you just said. Poe crashed.
Yeah, he did. I said you would have Mario in a Sonic game trying to do a jump, and he'll kind of like go through the wall and do little flippy flips.
Dave, are we boring you?
No, I'm trying to remember what my topic was earlier. Not at all.
And you know what else we would have? We would have what if Capcom merged with Nintendo?
Nintendo.
Let's not call it that.
Or Capto.
Let's call it Capto.
I like Captendo.
Captain.
Captendo? I like Captendo as well. Okay, so what would Captendo make?
A Resident Evil Mario game.
I still think there should be a Mario game where to save the Mushroom Kingdom zombies, you have to throw the abundant 1-up mushrooms you get in every Mario game at them.
Wait,
So
now,
you have to do stuff like you have to set up 2 pipes and throw a shell in between them so Lackey 2 throws spinies, so 1-up mushrooms just start flying out of there, and then you have to throw them at the denizens.
wait. Is this one of those fusion things that you were talking about
Crossovers.
earlier? Crossovers?
No, this is well within the Mario universe.
Okay, well, here's...
So, Captendo, what does Captendo make? I imagine that Mario games would become a lot shorter and feature fewer but much more varied levels and be way harder and have better bosses. Oh wow, I actually kind of want that to happen now.
You want Captendo?
I kind of want Captendo.
Or were you thinking of Devil May Cry?
Devil May Cry with Luigi
No, I meant because...
and Daisy as his Trish.
What? No,
That fits though, because Dante does have a brother who, in this case, would be Mario, who's much better than him.
No, I'm motivated.
No, no, the reason why I asked
This
about...
is gonna be one hell of a party.
No, you're not!
Foolishness, Luigi. Foolishness.
The reason why I brought up Devil May Cry was because you said a game was short, like a shorter game.
Oh, it's short, fewer levels but more varied. Because here's the thing, Mario has like 90-some levels in each game, but I remember the Mega Man levels way more because there were fewer of them and they were much more varied. Because you look at Mario World, and what's the difference between Cave Level A and Cave Level B? Not a fuck of a lot.
I always remember the beginning levels more.
I actually think Mario games are a little overrated, but don't tell fanboys that.
You know what else I only remember? When in playing Mario 3, I always remember the first world, and then bits...
The big world.
Which... I remember the desert world, because it's always after the first world.
Well, yeah, and that's the thing, the problem with Zelda 2 is that 90% of that game is cave. The problem with a lot of Mario games is that they just reuse the same tile set with slightly different level design. And here's the thing, though. What's the difference between all the cave levels in a Mario game? Okay, now tell me the difference between Metal Man's level and Woodman's level.
Oh, there's quite a bit.
Mm-hmm.
That's such a good point.
And that's the thing, like, I used to think games like Joe and Mac and whatnot on the SNES were just way too short, and then I realized, you know what? No, each level in this feels different and new. I'd rather have 12 awesome levels than 90 mediocre ones.
What the fuck is Joe and Mac?
It was these 2 cavemen.
Oh, cavemen, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's the one where they're kind of like...
And they were clubbing dinosaurs.
Yeah, they're like... And you could ride a dinosaur.
I think you could ride a dinosaur, yes.
What about that other guy where he's running barefoot and his face was over like... Ooh, ooh, and then...
He had a monkey tail?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was actually made by the same developers. It had the subtitle Joe and Mac too, even though Joe and Mac weren't in it. I forget the name, but you were a little monkey who was turned into a boy by an evil wizard. And so you had to go save your monkey girlfriend.
I know actually a monkey?
She was a monkey as well, but got turned into a human as well.
What's weird, though, is that when you take a hit, you get turned back into the monkey. And when you get health, you go back to the boy form. But the boy form is way more agile and athletic than the monkey. And I always thought that didn't seem right. Because, it's a human versus a monkey.
Is that the one where you're riding on a skateboard and you have blue hair?
You are thinking of Wonder Boy or Adventure Island.
Adventure Island!
Which one with Master Higgins? But that was Natsume. Oh, wait, that wasn't Natsume.
No, here's the thing. The first Wonder Boy, all the Wonder Boy games are made by Westone. Or West One. I never understood how they were pronounced. The first Wonder Boy game was adapted to be Adventure Island for Nintendo systems by Hudson Soft. Hudson Soft kept the rights to Master Higgins, and they decided to make more Wonder Boy style games in the Adventure Island label. But West One, or Westone, wanted to make different games, so that's why the Wonder Boy games became Sword and Sorcery, and the Adventure Island one stayed with a fat man in a loincloth saving his hot girlfriend.
I got another Nintendo Capcom crossover, but I don't know which one is it. Is it which Capcom IP was it? Like is it Demon Souls or Dark Souls? Does Capcom? Oh, I know there's a Dragon's Dogma. Right?
Okay, Dragon's Dogma.
Dragon's Dogma with Tetris Attack.
Okay, here's how you cross over any game with Tetris Attack. You put the characters in the background, and then every time you throw out an attack, they say something and garbage blocks go on the other side, just like Dave just did. You can cross over anything with Tetris Attack.
Or like Resident Evil with Tetris Attack. It's like Chris against Wesker.
Let me answer your question with the best answer possible. Pokemon Puzzle League.
Yep.
Well, that already have it. That doesn't really count.
Yeah, Tetris Attack. That's all it was.
Speaking of Chris and Weston...
Chris and Weston? You mean Chris and Wesker, and we weren't speaking about them, but please, continue.
I was actually going to put Wesker in that little Tetris Attack. No. Every time he got a combo, he'd be like, try harder, please, try harder. You are nothing to me! Try harder.
Try harder, please. No, shut up. Speaking of Chris, I almost called him Weston again.
Wesker.
Wesker.
Tetris Attack. Chris
Redfield. No. Okay,
Albert
David,
Wesker.
have you seen the movie where Chris and his sister are trying to beat the shit out of him?
Yes.
Tell me if that was not the best part of the movie.
Always.
It was so funny. I was actually just having this conversation the other day. But I told Carlos where I think it's hilarious where it's about this girl you don't give a fuck about for like 75% of the movie, and then the last 25% is just these two fighting, and you're like, yeah, that's the only part I remember.
Mm-hmm. That's kind of Resident Evil, or the Resident Evil movies in a nutshell. It's like, okay, so you basically set up the last 3 movies or 4 movies to be around this character. Now you're basically getting rid of her and putting in a character that we don't know, don't care about, and you expect us to give a damn.
Oh, I know a crossover that you cannot mix.
Do it.
Resident Evil and Cooking Mama.
Oh, that's easy.
Cooking Mama is the one who makes up the herb. Yeah, makes up all the potions and herbs.
Yeah, there you go.
Especially since she can grow the herbs for you while Chris and Jill are out
She's
killing.
The one who makes the T-virus, the P-virus, and
so why aren't they getting rid of her?
Well, I was going to say
Well, she's on Wesker's payroll.
I was going to say that her cooking is actually making everyone else immune. So, in this game, you have to simultaneously fight off the zombies and make sure that she stays in a stable emotional state so she can keep cooking.
Holy shit.
That sounds like
the original Cooking Mama was Claire, but then they decided to demote her when she asked for an executive manager Mama game. So they demoted her.
Oh dear. Okay.
Like that VG Cats comic.
What about Final Fantasy Tactics?
I already know my answer no matter what you say.
No matter what I say?
No matter what you say. But go.
Bambi.
Okay. So what happened is Ramza was turned into, at the end of Final Fantasy Tactics, when they all thought they were dead, no, they were actually just turned into deer and warped to another world.
What?
And what happened is, while Bambi is suffering, and while the Prince of the Forest is raising Bambi, the deer Ramza is the one who finds the hunters and kills them, but gets no credit for it.
Oh my...
Sounds like that Rock Bambi
that
movie.
was good, actually.
And then, overcome with primitive instinct,
wow.
he begs dear Agrius.
You ruined my crossover!
He bangs dear Agrius? You mean a doe?
Well, she is a doe.
She has a name.
She is a deer.
She has a name. It's Agrius.
Yeah, but he called her
a deer Agrius because he's dear Ramza and she's dear Agrius.
This is taking a dark turn.
Were you going to just say the ending of Tactics becomes this to anything I was going to say?
What I was going to say was Ramza solves the problem of that other world and gets no credit for it.
Okay, what about...
you can do that
I'm
with
now trying to think of the most random fucking shit. What about Popeye and World of Warcraft?
Ooh, that's a good one. Popeye gets warped into World of Warcraft right when Sawgrass is first going to attack it. He gets some spinach, knocks out Sargeras.
Hang on.
And World of Warcraft never actually
We have to specify that Sargeras first comes to Earth and tries to steal Popeye's girlfriend.
Olive oil.
And, olive oil.
Tries,
and then
succeeds.
And then punches Popeye, and Popeye's like, and tries to go back. And then he gets knocked away again. And then he's like, oh, or whatever he says whenever he's hit, and his face implodes. And he goes like, and then he's like, and he's like, oh, spinach. And then he does the cartoon thing. And then it has the World of Warcraft level up above him. And then while it's playing that tune, it's like, he's like, as he's punching Sargeras' head is bouncing back and forth like one of those.
He's punched, but
ping pong
this guy's
games.
a giant. I'm sure he's punching him like in the toe, and that's when his head's like bobbing back and
He
forth.
punches him in the toe, and then it just like expands throughout his body, and he just blows up.
Okay. How about... I'm trying this.
Just taking a break from the crossovering for a second.
No, no breaks from crossover.
Hold on.
Fucking
Just let me say this randomly. In Drive Cool Crew, you know how JL is like the
fused with
greatest...
Metroid.
Okay, so Dance Master Samus has been getting all this crap from the club, so she assembles her crew and takes them out. And beats him at a dance party, but the evil DJ releases the bioform known as Dancin' Metroid, which is just a regular Metroid and starts killing the shit out of people, okay?
Evil DJ Ridley.
Evil DJ Ridley. He's like, word up, and releases Metroids. Also, he's Ridley, so he starts just tearing shit up.
He's Ridley with a toque.
Yeah, he's got a toque and nothing else. That's literally what he looks like. So, Samus has to trade in her pumps for mad biopumps that take out the Metroids.
And then and then when all that's done, she trades with her pals so that she could get one step closer to proving she's better than JL.
I need to think of a crossover you can't fuse. This is very, very fun because I am having difficulties trying to
There are a
think
few
of
that I'll always be able to do. Final Fantasy Tactics is one of them. Madoka is another one. Escaflowne is another one. Because since I care so little about the latter two, I always know my answer. And Ramza will always save the day and never be known. That's always the answer.
Poor Ramza!
That's his whole story!
God. Poor Can't you think of one where he does get known?
No, because then he's not Ramza anymore.
What about Tactics and Gears of War?
Well, that one's easy, okay. So, after the end of Final Fantasy Tactics...
It's always the goddamn end!
They are warped to the world of Sarah. Ramza has given up hope of finding home, so he helps the humans out with defeating the Locust. So
does Dominic still die?
What happens is, after Dom dies, they discover Agent R, who has been secretly helping them throughout the whole series, and it's Ramza. And, just for kicks, Cloud's there too. So Ramza and Cloud then join them at this point, and after they beat the Locust Queen, they're gone.
While using magic.
Where'd they go?
Nobody knows.
All this time,
And then Marcus is like, but aren't they the real heroes? And then I know Anya says something like, Marcus, the real heroes are the people who survived. Also, fuck me, you giant man, you.
You giant man.
He's enormous.
Meanwhile, in the background, you see Ramza and Cloud just on water chocobos going across the
on water chocobos. And Mechanical Baird is all like...
Mechanical Baird.
He's all like...
In this universe, Baird really is a robot.
I didn't know. I thought that was his fucking name, okay?
Like, there's room for one more. It's a fucking party down here.
Yes.
Pardon the dogs barking. Okay, folks.
The next time we have a group podcast, I want to think of more random...
Write down the stuff you want to talk about.
No, I want to think of more fusing together. I have to try
Write them down as you think of them. Write them down as you think of them.
I know the viewers can't see, but I just kind of stopped and stared at Carlos because he just crushed my hopes and dreams.
About?
Writing everything down.
Why does that crush your hopes and dreams?
I don't know. What about Babar and hold on. Wait, before we finish here.
Oh my god, I thought I was still there.
No.
I'll wait. But please say yours.
What about Babar and Trigun?
Okay, so on the distant desert planet, Babar in a cloak is walking towards the camera, and he's got those glasses, and there's a giant light bulb in the background. And what it is he and Vash are telling their kids the stories, just like Babar did. As they go back, we see the events of the cartoon, except that Vash and Babar are, of course, in the same world, and they're trying to stop the evil... What was that guy's name who Vash had to kill?
Knife.
Not Knives, the other guy, his subordinate. Let's start with an L. Leville? Levant?
Levine.
Not Levine. Legatu? Was it Legatu?
Legato.
Legato and that Rhino King.
Sure. And the Rhino King, who have teamed up to make their lives hell on the decree of Knives. And let's just say there's an elephant Knives, too. And, they're basically telling their kids the stories and flashing back to them, and Wolfwood dies, and an elephant Wolfwood also dies.
What's Elfwood Wolf's name?
Elephant Woodwood.
It's Elephant Wood.
Or
We'll just call him Elwood.
Elwood. It's Elwood.
Oh my
And now
God.
ruining another children's literature.
And this will be the last one before we wrap it up.
No!
Ruining another children's literature book. Madeline and Madoka.
Well, this one's easy, because this is my answer anytime that Madoka's involved.
That's why I don't want to use Madoka.
Okay.
It was either that or Grand Theft Auto.
Yeah, I'd use Grand Theft Auto.
Madeline and Grand Theft Auto. But first, Madoka.
So, with Madoka, it's easy. It's always the answer I'll give for Madoka. The whole show took place inside a computer, which is why QB's so evil all the time, because he's just fucking with the software, and that's why he has all these godly powers.
But Madeline's orphanage isn't rich enough to afford a computer.
No, it's not. Madeline's orphanage isn't, but what happened is Madeline, because times are tough, and in this economy, she's just abandoned one day, and she finds the USB computer drive that they're all stored in, and she uses her whimsical little charm to solve all their mysteries in their world and kill QB violently. That's always the Madoka answer.
Okay, then what about Grand Theft Auto?
Madeline kills a guy and takes his car. I don't know.
She's like
We
6.
love our bread, we love our butter, but most of all, we love each other. As they all jack 10 cars.
Why do you
Bro,
do that?
this is extra creepy when you consider that she's slowly slitting a man's throat as she's
Oh
saying this.
my God.
All the girls are slitting these guys' throats as they drive
You know
10
what?
10 cars in rows of 2.
Either that or she's jumping rope across the street, a car hits her, it goes to slow motion and says wasted on the screen.
No, you know what it should be? You're playing Grand Theft Auto and then you hear about this badass like gang called the Orphans. And then you realize it's those little girls killing people.
And you know they're coming.
Why did I add to this?
In 10 rows of 2.
Whereas in my case, all you see is your character slowly walking away from a building. Beep! As a giant explosion happens, and her head falls onto a pole.
Oh, dear.
Unfortunately for you, Madeline was an acronym and she was an android.
It's like,
Oh my God.
The
What did
gang
the
of the
acronyms?
orphans.
What did it stand for?
Mechanical, ass-kicking, diva, and so forth, but somewhere later it's just about killing Dave.
It's like the orphans gang. No, the orphans gang. They drive down in 10 rows in 20 cars in 10 rows. 2 rows of 10, with their gang boss and S&M nun. You know, it's like one of those sadistic dominatrix nuns.
No.
And that's just that's the kind of thing that would belong in a GTA world.
Okay. I think we're done.
Yeah,
Folks!
I need to bathe.
Thank you so... You were on that bed the whole time? Why didn't you do it before the podcast?
But I didn't want to. I wanted to get this done.
You didn't
I wanted to
wanna.
spend with you guys. I wanted to spend time with you guys.
Oh my God.
You would have been able to spend time not stinking up my bed, folks, if you really enjoyed what you heard. TwoFatGuysTalk.com is your destination for more of whatever the hell this was. Go there, leave us voicemails, leave us messages, leave us feedback, listen to our past episodes, view our show, the Carlos and Dave Anime Rave, where Dave just pisses me off to no end all the time. All the time.
Oh, I heard about all those bear puns that you think of. How do you do that so fast?
It just
Voicemail. Oh no!
it just comes to me.
Like,
Wait, do we just get a new voicemail?
No, I tried to stop you, and it didn't work.
Oh,
He
okay.
couldn't bear the consequences.
And that'll be it.
Well, the show is barely over.
Two Fat Guys Talk is
my
our
God.
Twitter handle. I'm Handsome Fat Man, and my compatriot is the Dude Hack.
At the Dude Hack.
At Dude Hack. You guys don't have Twitter accounts, do you?
No.
Okay. Bye. Say
Just-
bye to the people.
Bye-bye.
Just bear with us.
Help
Bye.
me. Get me out of here.
Oh.
It's no fur off your back.
Oh, God.